All right, I believe we're live now. So we're going to actually discuss odd sets and why they work against your average player or even intermediate level players. So like Chris, I know you were making, or I guess you have already made, the sort of challenges for conquest. So like the what was it? The second set was like 10 halberds, and I heard that had crushed a lot of players many times over.
Yeah.
So
range till being one of them.
Range till, how many times did you get beat by the 10 halberds?
I think he beat it on his first.
Yeah, I played Conquester, so it was fun.
Yeah. Let's see. So how do you normally space the 10 halberds? I'm not. Does it matter too much?
Normally I just choose like, I don't know, like I try and space it out so there's like I don't know, like 6 or like 5 on each side. Like if you know, like space it out evenly, like there's a little gap in the middle and then 5 on each side. It doesn't really matter the spacing though.
But you don't do like 2 spaces between or something like that?
No, I put them all bunched together.
All right, you put them bunched together for the most part.
Yeah.
So I'll put like 5.
Yeah, that's exactly how I do it personally.
Like,
yeah,
5, something like that. And you run with Chastise and Shield Wall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess those are the only ones that fit for the most part. I've seen some people work a Foot Soldier in here, and then they change like one of these to Stoicism.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Shield Wall is just a lot better on halberds, unless you're going against something like Bombard.
Yeah, I would agree.
But something like this, and let's just take Anti-Rush for the second set as black. So when you're playing something like 10 halberds, I guess there's not too many tactics that you have to choose from, right?
Well, when you're playing, like, are you saying playing as or against?
Yeah, when you're playing as, like, I feel like your objective is pretty pretty obvious, right?
Yeah, you just try and build up as many halberds as you can in the center to build up some sort of attack, basically.
Yeah. So you're just gonna play your halberds up right now. Anti-Rush usually has a few different tactics to choose from. You know, they can have the Foot Soldier moving up to try and tank scouts. They can try stoic tricks. They can try rushing with champions, defending with halberds. But here with the halberds, you've got pretty straightforward objective, right?
Yeah, kill the halberds. I mean, so there's some key tactics that you can hone in, and there's a couple of different ones. Like, for example, when I'm trying to go against the setup, like let's say my opponent just used Battle Cry. As soon as they use Battle Cry, my first objective as anti-rush is to rush them with my champions, because their Battle Cry is down and they have no units to KO them. And usually I can kill like 3 to 4 halberds with just one champion after they've just used Battle Cry. So typically that is a pretty straightforward strategy for me. Other than that, if they don't use Battle Cry, then I just Battle Cry with scouts. But yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
So would you say there's like a common mistake that you find, like maybe the champions try to rush too early?
Oh yeah, when people try to rush too early with their champions, you just get screwed right away. Like if you were to play champion up 4 and like just try and like just go straight into the rush, your opponent can just keep developing halberds, obviously. But if you keep moving in too close, it'll fall apart pretty quickly. And this actually happens with Regenerate too, because Regenerate requires too many command points to actually heal.
Yeah.
So it actually comes to that.
So when you're playing with the halberds, do would you normally consider like battle crying a foot soldier, or no, because you're gonna get rushed by champions?
Typically I wouldn't unless it's like absolutely required. I mean, sometimes you're just kind of forced into the position where like you have to do something, otherwise you're just going to be losing terribly. But you know, because there's not many options to play when you're playing 10 halberds. Like eventually at some point you're going to get put into a tough position and it's going to be tough. But yeah.
So even people playing Rush can get pretty badly damaged by the 10 halberds, right?
For the most part. I mean, Rush is a little bit more difficult because you have that 3 command threshold, which allows you to kill a little bit more. But
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, that's all I was gonna say.
All right, because I know you were saying like you can't rush too early, but I guess if you have Rush, then there is no rushing too early, right?
Yeah, there is definitely no rushing too early, like when you have Rush. But yeah, so like when you start with anti-rush, for example, Chastis is just completely useless in these kinds of scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah, chastise. That's what I found. But one thing it does stop is halberds moving forward and doing something annoying with shield wall. So charge shield wall.
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess it really defends your champions or your units over here. A Rush doesn't have that option. So
yeah,
on the one hand, he does get to rush the opponent, but on the other hand, I guess the opponent can take stabs at him because he doesn't have chastise there.
Yeah, exactly. So like in times like a tactic that I often utilize, like right now, you know how I like your champion stoiked and I can't do any damage. Sometimes playing like a halberd up in range of your opponent's halberds is a good idea, because like let's say like this would be a common like idea. So I don't know why I didn't let you select a unit, but
hold on, hold on. Yeah, why didn't it let me?
There you go. You're finding glitches.
I don't know what that was. Yeah, I've got the different code so I can look back and see what happened there.
I think it's because you tried to use like Chastis on your own halberd.
Oh yeah, that's right. I had clicked chastise.
Yeah, but anyways, if you played that halberd up like 3 spaces or so, like a common mistake that your opponent will like see. So if you just end your turn here and they just capture another halberd, and then use
not use chastise.
Yeah, I mean you're a little bit low on command points, so it would be kind of difficult anyways. But so go ahead and kill another halberd with your champion, preferably not.
You don't mean, yeah, not this one.
Yeah.
So if we try to get farther in to kill more halberds over here.
Yeah, and then use battle cry on your champion to give it the plus 200 HP boost. So what I often see here is like a deflection tactic where you can actually charge your halberd into their halberd, and like so although you can't damage the champion yet, you're actually still taking material, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and it can be kind of like a problem, and it can just kind of confuse like the less intermediate player, like if you know what I mean. Like sometimes they have difficulty calculating things out in a minute, and it can make the mistakes. Like that's just what I find personally.
So here, would you try to like continue the deflection, or do you kind of want them to take this halberd so that you can try to capture the champion?
Personally, I would hope that they would capture that halberd so I could just start taking out their champion personally.
All right. So you wouldn't use shield wall in this situation?
Yeah, I probably would not use shield wall. I would just kind of like just end my turn and see what happens, you know.
Yeah. So well, in this situation, let's see. So if we're thinking about mistakes, so you said hopefully, you know, they captured the halberd. That would be the correct move, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe they try to be
coy and take that. Yeah.
They're taken now.
Now you can easily just hit them and Chastis, and then potentially even shield wall the other halberd in the other area.
Well, you don't have enough command points for that.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
But I mean, in other situations, that would be something.
Yeah, it entirely depends situational. Like, I mean, I'm not the one playing right now, so it's a little bit difficult for me to get into the mindset necessarily. But yeah, no. What do you think, Rangestill? Like, what do you think of this situations and stuff?
Yeah, I guess I'll work on a lower intermediate player, but if I was playing, I definitely wouldn't let you get into the center area at all. I'd probably let you hit my champion at my back wall and try to take as many halberds as I can, and then rush again, or just put more scouts in the middle. Yeah, just wait for you guys, and just wait for battle cry, and just keep pushing it back.
But it's going to be difficult to rush a second time if you've let them hit your back champion.
Well, I'm assuming I'm using anti-rush, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be more difficult for sure once they weaken the champion. But I mean, you do have a lot of material to compensate. What I like to think about when I'm playing anti-rush versus the 10 halberds is like each scout can potentially battle cry out a halberd. So if you think about it like that, and then you're like exchanging like 2 or 3 halberds per champion, then you're in pretty good shape. Even just one, to be honest, and because then it's, you know, you trade a piece for a piece until you win. But yeah.
Well, the thing about when you say 1 scout for 1 halberd, I think it's actually more than that, right? Because if you use battle cry on one of the scouts, and then black here, or sorry, this is white. White here has to either use battle cry to recapture, in which case you're going to get more halberds with your champion, or you know they use chastise, and you can move. You could use stoicism or some other command to defend, but you're basically going to pull your scout back. You know, if they don't do any of that, you could hit 1 halberd with battle cry. You can either pull it back, or you can actually go and hit a second halberd and weaken it to 100 HP. And that's actually going to let another scout kill it without battle cry. So you can get like 1.5 halberds for a single scout.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good point. But that also brings me to another mistake that sometimes people will make. Like, so like in a given position, like obviously not necessarily this position, but sometimes my opponent will try and just weaken a halberd to 100 HP with the scout. And like in theory it would be good, but like if my halberd's too close in proximity to like their base or something, I could just charge it and then kill a halberd.
Trade it off.
Yeah. And if I can trade it off for something that's equal or better potentially, then you're losing a scout plus that material, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a very common mistake that I find. Like they'll think, oh, well, I can just weaken a scout and then kill it and then save my battle cry. But it doesn't always work that way. Because when I'm playing the halberd spam, my objective sometimes is to like trade the halberds for that range advantage. But yeah.
So 10 halberds doesn't necessarily beat any of the normal sets that we see, right? Like regenerate will beat it, anti-rush beats it, rush beats it, bombard beats it.
Yeah.
I guess Winds of Fate would also beat it.
I don't know. Didn't you have a little bit of trouble with Vigilance?
Oh, yeah. With my Vigilance set. Yeah, it's really difficult with Vigilance. Let's see. I don't think I actually won with Vigilance, did I? I think I actually lost and had to switch to like anti-rush or something.
Oh, wow.
Didn't you use a mage or something at some point? I remember.
Oh, yeah. I used a mage. That was great. That was a lot of fun.
That sounds like you can do some things though, a mage.
Yeah, with a mage, you could actually. Yeah, this might actually lose to some noob sets with like archers and mages in them.
Yeah,
because you don't have the scouts. But no, I did work a mage, and I traded the foot soldier and a halberd for a mage and another scout.
It was really interesting to see that work out.
Yeah, I actually don't remember if I won that one. Did I?
I don't think you did at first, but I think after like the second game, you got it down. Because
Yeah,
I mean, like when you're using a mage and stuff, the halberd charge can still be dangerous. Like when you're like caught off guard, you know.
And you know what? I think in the second game you actually did charge the mage, but I think it was like I forced you to charge the mage, so you didn't have charge anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure something like that happened.
Yeah, and
It was
like walk.
it was just too little, too late, and then I just kind of like, I was like, well, crap, I'm not going to win anyways, so I might as well try and take out as much material as I can.
Yeah, and the thing about longer range units, it actually lets chastise do some more work. Like if your halberds aren't close enough to each other. So like this halberd is actually defended by these two for the most part. Like if my halberd were to come here and capture, you could come and recapture. But if it's with a mage, these actually have to be 2 spaces closer to defend from the mage.
Mm-hmm.
So overextending your units can actually become more of a problem with that.
You know, Ricky Daly 12. I don't know if you guys have ever played that guy or seen him around, but he uses like this setup with a mage. Actually, he's gotten all the way to like level 5.
With that same set.
Yeah. So
he's a bomb setup, or
what's up?
Is it a bomb setup?
Or? Bomb setup either? No, it's.
Let's actually look at that right now.
Yeah. I'll try and remember what his setup is.
No, I remember almost exactly what it was. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He had a champion somewhere, and like 2 halberds, a mage, and
a knight. Yeah,
he had a knight somewhere. I don't remember where it was.
I think he had his champion in the corner and the knight towards the front.
No, I distinctly remember he had the mage in the corner.
Well, I mean, there's 2 pieces allowed in the corner, though. He modified his setup quite a bit. So, yeah, something like that. Where yeah, like that. Yeah, he has sets like that. Yeah.
I can't remember if he had shield wall. I don't think he did.
I don't think he did either.
Yeah, because it'd be pretty useless on the mage.
Yeah.
Let's go. Missing 25. He had 3 halberds. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
and I remember this was like the old set I used, but in my opinion, worse. I had 2 knights instead of the knight and the mage.
Yeah.
Oh, the 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think later I switched like that. Put 2 foot soldiers in just to be annoying.
What's interesting though is Bez had that setup that was similar to this. I don't remember it exactly, but it's most likely going to be one of those 2 sets that he played.
I think you said he had it. I know you said he had like 2 knights and a champion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, from here, the only options are your 3 halberds or the 2 halberds and 2 foot soldiers.
Yeah, he played one of those 2, and it was exceptionally well. He actually beat me a couple times with it, which is interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember beating you except with vigilance, which is pretty sad.
New meta.
Next tournament, no metas.
No metas?
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing I didn't like about this set after playing with it for a while.
The mage set?
Well, when I had 2 knights, but I think a mage is even worse because you'll find the same problems, is that when the scouts get charged in battle cry and they take out a knight, yeah, I think it's even worse than like having like your champion battle cry or like a halberd battle cried, because obviously the knight's worth more points and 2 knights is worth 1 champion, so
yeah,
it works out, except now you have fewer units. because you could have a champion get battle cried twice, and with the champion you could have another scout. But if you have two knights, you got to have one scout that you sacrificed. So here you can see there's 4 scouts, and then Anti-Rush has 3 scouts, but they have the same amount of command points used on their units. I know. Oh, another really annoying part was especially when your champion gets battle cried. I think that was probably one of the flaws on my set. I had the champion in the corner, and I was trying to protect the 2 knights. Or sorry, I had the champion in the front, and 2 knights in the corner.
Yeah,
that was probably another one of my flaws, because a scout would take the champion with 2 battle cries, and then my knights can't really rush because if they have charge or battle cry, the knight's not going to advance very far.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, so
one thing that I do think for those kinds of setups that like really does promote it, like with the 2 knights. So you have 3 pieces that can kill a scout with battle cry, whereas Anti-Rush only has 2. So if Anti-Rush were to lose one of its pieces, you could see a tactic where they charge battle cry and then Chastise the other champion.
Yeah.
Whereas with your setup, that isn't an option, because like if I were to charge in battle cry and kill a knight, either the knight or the champion could recapture. So that is one useful thing I think with that setup. But also, I guess just the potential end game that you could get lucky enough to have 2 knights versus a champion. 2 knights would win. That would probably be the only other benefit that I can see.
The thing about having like a knight or a champion that could recapture, when you use Chastise on this champion over here, the thing is you need 2 battle cries to take out one of these champions.
Yeah.
And at the same time, 2 battle cries would take out 2 knights, and then it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, that's true.
But you've got like a halberd and a scout for what, like a foot soldier and like 2 scouts, something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess that having another halberd could be another benefit, but I mean, halberds for the most part, like in the opening at least, aren't particularly that useful in my opinion. I think halberds are better deployed towards end games and like deep middle games. Like when there's enough to like, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like I would never develop like a halberd up 4 at the very beginning or anything like that, because it's just gonna get killed right away.
Oh well, a similar set to this is a Dark Ranges set, right? So
Oh yeah.
So it's like 6 halberds and 3 scouts?
1 champion, same commands as Anti-Rush, yeah.
Yeah, don't you usually advance with halberd up 4 in that?
No, actually. Well, I personally develop with my scouts first. I go for the 4-3 attack when I'm playing with that setup, actually.
Oh, you should try the 4-4 scout attack.
Yeah, that's another option. That's actually where I actually like originally thought of that opening, was with that, because you only have so many scouts. So
yeah. Oh, that's another thing about like this set we're looking at here, is it doesn't have too many scouts. So Anti-Rush has 5. That's actually a good amount. But the foot soldier actually sort of can take out like 2 of these scouts if he's used properly. So it's almost like you only have 2 scouts in this situation.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. Also, I think the foot soldier kind of shines versus this kind of setup, because like if it can charge in battle cry and kill a knight, normally a foot soldier is probably going to be looking to charge in battle cry and kill a halberd and a few scouts. But with the knights readily available to charge in battle cry with the foot soldier, I feel like the foot soldier just gains a little bit more value, because if you manage to kill a knight with that foot soldier and then a few scouts, that's a lot. That's like more damaging than a halberd, like particularly. I don't know.
Yeah. So the knight does hurt to be battle cried more than the halberd, definitely.
Yeah.
Let's see. So there's also like variations to Dark Range's set, right? So you could exchange like a halberd and a scout for like a knight in his set.
Yeah. You could.
Knight and a foot soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You know, Dark Range actually beat a bunch of top tier players when he first came up with that setup.
Oh, really? Like who?
He beat Dejected. He beat Kiri Beater. I'm not sure who else he beat with it. He might have beaten Alley with it too, actually. Yeah. Me and Member were like the main people to just beat it right away. And we're like, what's the problem here?
Oh, you know, I think like my first win against Alley was with this set right here. So
Oh, really?
yeah. So she had suggested to me this set, but you know, with a knight instead. And then eventually I just like switched in a mage, just for the fun. And she actually let the mage live until the very end because I had all sorts of like deflection tactics going or like counter attacks.
Oh, wow.
And in the end, it was like a mage and 2 halberds versus a champion.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Mage and 2 halberds won. It was that game was a lot of fun.
Wow. Yeah, it surprises me sometimes when those top tiers lose these kind of games.
Yeah. And she had, you know, the whole time she had been tricking me with different sets like regen, but instead of, she replaced charge with shield wall or something. Like,
charge.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, how did you lose that one?
Yeah, she I was like, this is regen. Like, what am I supposed to do? I think, and she used shield wall to get close, instead of charge. I think like because I had sacked a scout against her that gave her like the 25 extra command points she needed to actually do a rush. And then, you know, she captures my champion and just regens halfway through. And I'm like, oh crap.
That's wild.
But then she tried to play something normal with anti-rush, and that's when I beat her with a mage.
Yeah, Allie was very good at trickery. Like, she didn't use normal setups that well. One thing she did like to play with anti-rush is she'd actually start both champions into the corner, which I thought was interesting. Like,
yeah, I was looking at your channel and I saw some of her games, and she would have both of them in the corner.
yeah.
But anti-rush was a little bit different back then, right? Because it had the halberds over another space.
Yeah, that was a little bit different. Kiri Beater actually changed the meta and decided to move the halberds over one space, and that caught on pretty quickly.
So did it catch on because he was like having more success with it?
It was catching on because, yeah, he was having more success with it. And then also just like there were some variations where like at the very end, like let's say you had 4 pieces left, your halberd and scout are already designed to make a wall for your last champion. Like all you'd have to do is move the scout back.
Okay.
Yeah, so with this, like I think people were scared of like when you have this kind of formation going, if they get their champion right here and take this halberd, that you can't replace it.
Yeah, that's a part.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, if you have if this is a champion and you know he's advancing, he can get right here and take the halberd. He actually can't go on the last rank to capture.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I was thinking perhaps you should have your halberds. Try to have your halberd on the front here, back a space somehow. Actually, let me reset this. If you could have the halberd back a space somehow while also being able to move the champion in the corner, that might benefit you some.
Yeah.
Because then a scout up 2 spaces actually can't charge him. And similarly, the champion on the back row can't rush him right away. He needs an extra turn, but he can hit the champion in the back.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
there would be a problem with that. It would actually be with anti-rush versus the regenerative setup. The halberd in the front line is actually relatively important, at least to me, when I'm playing anti-rush versus like member against his regenerate. There's a little trap that I love to play when it's at the front line. I don't know if you want to bring up like a regenerative versus anti.
Yeah. We're talking about, I guess, like, you know, common mistakes with this with like these weird sets.
Yeah.
So
I think I know what you're talking about too.
So is it an opening trap? Does it matter if they're white or black, or?
It doesn't matter, either one. You can choose whatever one it is.
All right.
So the idea is playing scouts up 5, actually, which gives you a little bit more range against regenerate, a little bit more pressure, and your halberd's also protecting them. So let's say regenerate is playing aggressive with their champions.
Oh, I think I sort of remember this trap.
I remember it.
Yeah, so you keep playing your scouts up 5, right? And you're kind of going for that kind of vibe. And it's actually if they try and risk taking a scout.
Yeah, then you can actually hit them with the halberd, right?
Yeah, and it actually ensues a little bit of a trap where they can't escape. So here in this position, you just hit them with the halberd and end your turn. And they run into a lot of trouble with this kind of variation.
Yeah, because you're about to get battle cry.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty much big trouble for the opponent. Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you go first or second, it works either way, you know. They don't have if they try and do that, then you just chastise them, you know.
Yeah, they don't have any options.
Yeah. It's a nice little trap. That was one of the first traps I created against the regenerate set. The thing you have to realize with anti-rush versus like regenerate, the key to winning with anti-rush is actually to trap your the regenerate champion. That's how you win the game. You have to come up with a clever enough trap for them to fall into. That's what I find, for the most part, at least.
Well, if it's a trap, can you really say that it's winning?
Well, that's why, for the most part, regenerate versus anti-rush is a draw. For the most part, I don't know. A lot of times, anti-rush versus regen will end in draws, just simply because, I don't know, not enough tactics are found. But yeah.
So you think it's like a middle game problem there?
Yeah, it's a middle game problem for sure. It's just a difficult game for anti-rush. Regenerate is probably, I'm just going to say this, the most difficult setup to play as.
Definitely.
Yeah,
requires the most thinking about.
Yeah, it requires the most thinking about, and I'd even dare say that regenerate may be more difficult to beat than or more difficult thinking wise than just anti-rush versus anti-rush.
I don't know. I think vigilance might take the top spot. Vigilance is actually pretty tough to play versus anything, really.
Yeah, you're pretty much handicapping yourself.
Yeah. I'm still not sure if vigilance can pull a draw out of regenerate. I had one game versus member with my vigilance set. My champion had an attack on him in the opening. I don't quite remember what it was. I'll have to see if I have that somewhere, in my live streams or my recorded videos.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was weird because, I would move my champion up and I had vigilance, and then I move it up some more. And then I get vigilance again before he gets charged battle cry.
Yeah.
It was real interesting. But I don't think I calculated it out right.
Oh yeah. a typical Blake move, choosing the finding tactics but not using them in the right order.
Yeah.
It applies to chest. I'm sorry.
Did it end up in a draw, or you lost, or what happened?
No, I ended up I ended up losing my champion because my attack didn't work out. I think I got like the halberd for it, and that was it. And yeah, the 2 regenerate champions versus vigilance is pretty bad. Because with stoicism, you at least get to live, but with vigilance, he can just kill you and regenerate the damage off.
Yeah.
And that's what makes playing vigilance really difficult. And also, none of your openings can be the same unless if they play their scouts up 4, you can't play the same openings. If they play them up 5 or 6, I think your openings actually work a little better with vigilance because the halberd actually can't capture. So normally you like take with the scout and your stoicism, but if it's vigilance instead, halberd's going to recapture.
Yeah. So, like back towards the newbie sets and why like intermediate players typically will lose against them. My main opinion towards that. So, like for example, I don't want to throw them under the bus, but like let's take Committed for example versus Iron Fairy. Like in the tournament, like this tournament that we just had, or we're like in right now, Iron Fairy used her famous regen stoic setup, right?
Yep.
And I thought she usually uses regen and shield wall.
Oh, she changes between the two.
Yeah, I know she switches between a few things. She also used bombard and shield wall against me with a knight.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But see, when intermediate players play, I think the biggest problem is that they just don't count at the beginning. They look at the setup, but they don't like count the units out. Like how like if you count units out at the very beginning of a game, you can kind of get a grasp of what commands they're using.
Yeah.
I feel like intermediate players do not do that.
Yeah.
And that, like, so they just handicap themselves. The commands could be potentially anything to them. And Committed even admitted to that. That's why I brought him up. So he said that he thought she had rush when she had the regen and shield wall.
Oh, and he didn't count?
Yeah, he didn't count it.
Yeah, he said it doesn't count. So
yeah, and so, but the funny thing is, he actually beat Iron Fairy, believe it or not, thinking that she had rushed the entire game until she used the commands.
Really? I mean, I can usually just look at a set and remember like which commands come out of it. Like if it's what is it, 7 scouts, 2 champions, and a halberd, I know it's either like regen or Winds of Fate.
Yeah, the same goes for me, but like with intermediate players, they don't have that much experience where they can just look at Upset and automatically know. And a lot of them just be ass counting too.
Yeah, I mean, if I see something like Iron Fairy set where she's only got 8 units, I'm definitely gonna count.
Yeah, same here personally. I would definitely count any setup that I can't think of the commands at heart. I will count. But any sets that I know automatically, then obviously I don't count because I already know them. But
yeah, I think one thing I think that could come out of that is if they're using a set with like Chastise and Shield Wall, you could replace one of these for Vigilance to play some mind games. The old Anti-Rush set had like 3 halberds. And,
well, 5.
yeah, 3, 5. What's the difference? Had like 3 halberds, right? And Chastise and Shield Wall. So the same thing that goes with about not counting. Maybe they could also be not considering any alternate commands.
That's very true.
Yeah, which is how instead of your normal like regen set, something like this, they actually just replace it with Bombard.
Yeah, Member's done that before.
Yeah, he loves that.
Oh, he's never actually tried that on me.
He's tried that on me before.
or with Bombard, they replace it with Regenerate instead.
Yeah. A famous game that Allie actually had with that kind of idea in mind. She used the 7 Scout, like the 7 Scout Regenerate set. She changed Regenerate to Stoic and Chastis to Shield Wall, and she just straight out rushed her opponent.
Oh, yeah.
So normally, like versus a Regenerate setup, you typically do not want to weaken the champion right away because you're just kind of feeding them scouts. So she took that in mind, and well, I mean, it depends how you want to play. Some people will, but like back in the day, people were kind of afraid to weaken champions with scouts typically, and so they wouldn't weaken them. And so Allie got the chance to just change Stoic, like change into Stoic and Shield Wall, and just play her champion all the way up and just rush. She actually beat Anti-Lad in his prime with that setup.
That sounds like a fun idea.
Yeah. Very unique.
Oh, so
of course you're down 75 CP, but
yeah, but I mean, you get the rush for it.
Yeah,
you get like an excellent rush. In fact,
your perfect rush.
Yeah, so essentially, you're trading off like a halberd or something for one of theirs, I guess.
Yeah.
But let's see. I know there's another set called like the Glass Cannon. It's like 2 mages and 2 archers, and I guess some more scouts.
Isn't it a 2 mages, 2 archers, 2 knights?
2 mages. I know it's got 2 mages and 2 archers. I'm pretty sure it has it has a champion in it.
Oh, really?
I don't think it has 2 knights.
Oh. If you went into the 2 knights variation, that would just be the exact same as the level 1 setup.
Level 1 setup.
Level 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people were losing to even level 1, you said, which is why you made level 0.
Well, I didn't make level 0. Member and
members.
Member and Conquester made it because like people fresh off the boats of like PC,
fresh off the PC boats.
Fresh off the PC boats are trying to levels and stuff. And obviously, if you don't know how to count, you don't know how to do anything like whatsoever. Just playing people lose to level 0 fresh off the boats. Like
yeah.
I'll give them anti-rush setup, and they will still lose.
Yeah, you would think counting would be a pretty intuitive tactic.
That's why level 1's so good, because they'll lose like 2-3 scouts right away because they're not really counting, and the archer's just picking them off.
Yeah, exactly.
It's wild.
So on a related set, let's see, what was it? There's, I guess, halberd somewhere. The archer sack with rush.
Ooh,
I think something like this.
There was actually back in my day when I used to play, a person named Lady Aisling. I don't know how to say her like username to the fullest potential properly, but she was a top conquester back in the day. I think she's still rated in the high scores, but she would use that setup that you just played, like you just put up there. But she would play it as anti-rush actually, which was pretty interesting to me. Like she'd have the archer. It wasn't that good. I never actually lost to it, but she'd get some wins against some intermediate players, which is interesting.
Yeah. So I know that when you're playing like anti-rush versus this, you still go ahead and charge the archer anyway. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I guess the reason that people would lose after that is aside from perhaps not counting spaces, not utilizing their wall correctly or cornering their champions, or even the halberd up 3 or 4 spaces.
Yeah, for sure. Like that would definitely be the reason to lose at that. But like even like with those kinds of setups, like like the 3 champion, 1 archer, like
1 scout.
Three
yeah,
champions.
1 scout rush setup, that sometimes Mato uses.
No, I've never seen him use that.
Oh, you've never seen? Oh, he
He
used.
destroyed me the first time he used that. It was
And he
bad.
has rush commands with it.
Yep.
Yeah, he has rush commands with it. Yeah, that's a pretty unique setup right there. But basically, anti-rush's defenses are so strong that it can pretty much withhold a rush, even if you charge the archer. To be honest, but if you don't defend correctly, then you run into trouble. And sometimes defense isn't intuitive. Like to us, it might be because we've played a lot of games, but like, sometimes defense is tough. Sorry, go on, Range.
Oh no, I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've actually seen this kind of thing with 5 scouts. But
I know. Invincible. There was a guy named Invincible that used that setup. It was pretty funny actually. He was actually a staker in Conquest, right? And so he would actually like get rid of his charge, like so he would get rid of his charge. Like use I don't know what commands he would fully utilize in that position, but he would get rid of his charge. And his tactic was that he would lose every single game without charge. Or, like, so he would lose every single game, right? Then the next game, he would switch back to charge. And so everyone would assume that he doesn't have charge. And so then he would pull out charge and win the game.
Oh,
that would be
wow.
tactic.
Classic staking tactic there.
Yeah. Handicap yourself and then,
What's
pull
that?
out the
You want
win.
to raise the stakes 10 times? All right.
Yeah, let me go to the
there.
command board real quick or upstairs to check my points real quick. That guy actually blocked me for some reason.
Oh, really?
You probably took his money.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I never really fell for it. I always assumed that he had charge until he didn't have charge. So once I saw all 4 commands go off the board and I was like, oh, there's no charge, then it was just getting wrecked.
Yeah, I remember I tried a set without charge. It was like this, but I had I think I just copied anti-rush. So I was down a few command points. So let's see. There's another scout. So I had this. So I had 25 fewer command points. I think I had a pretty decent game with it against you, Chris, but nah, killing champion was a bit difficult.
Yeah. One of the things that I'd like to point out when you don't have charge is that a 500 HP champion versus a scout is actually a draw because you can't capture the scout.
Yeah, and
actually, I would dare say that maybe, potentially, just maybe, it would be a draw versus any other unit if your opponent had charge, because they could charge their piece out of the situation that they're in, potentially.
The only exception with that would be with bombard, because they could just bombard your scout.
Yeah, that's true.
I tried another where I replaced Battlecry. That was the one I tried versus you. I actually kept charge. I replaced Battlecry.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, so it can be all right if you actually get a weekend on both champions, I think. But if you don't, then their champions are just going to crush you.
And also, just to mention, the foot soldier really shines when you don't have Battlecry.
Yeah.
Like, really shines.
As soon as regenerate will just crush everything.
Yeah.
But
yeah, charge and Battlecry are command staples. Like you got to have them.
So I was thinking of a few things that you might try to do. So with Bombard, I was thinking maybe you could replace Charge with Shield Wall, or with Stoicism here. All right, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 should go there. Something like this.
Yeah. No, that's a pretty interesting idea.
Yeah, I mean, like, I suppose the game would be decided, once like 4 scouts are gone, because when you don't have 4 of these scouts, you can only close the wall like this. So if they take any of these units now, your not having charge is actually going to affect. It's going to affect your defense a lot.
Yeah, one thing I would like to mention with this set, though, that you've just mentioned, stereotypically, when your opponent is playing versus this kind of setup and they see Stoic, they're going to be expecting a Stoic and Regenerate.
Yeah.
Like that kind of trick set. So you might have a potential 4-3 attack when they're not expecting it with this kind of setup. And I think that might be interesting to try. I mean, playing a little bit more aggressive, because they'll think you have Regenerate, right? And then you could go into the 4-3 attack and win some material potentially. It might be interesting to think about.
Yeah. So, speaking of Stoic and Regenerate, usually don't you like to play your champions a bit more aggressive with that, or?
Actually, no. The idea with this is you play mind games. You pretend that you have Bombard, and
they bring all the units up.
Yeah, they bring all their units up so they don't have a wall anymore, and they charge and battle cry you, and then you rush them with your champion. And in some cases, it'll actually win. Sometimes that's why when I verse member, I'll actually only play 4 scouts up 5, so I still have a little bit of a wall intact just in case.
I mean, the halberd up 3 or 4 spaces doesn't help you then.
Well, because they can rush with either champion. They could rush with their full HP champion too, potentially.
Well, they can regenerate it, and they're both full HP.
Yeah, that's true, but that wastes CP. Like wasting CP can be a rush stopper, if you know what I mean. Because like if I did it right away, like let's say at the very beginning of the game, like right when I'm at 150 command points, they're not going to be able to just regenerate and rush me. That's like they won't be able to do that, because then they'll only be like what, 100 command points or something.
Yeah, I guess it kind of depends at what stage in the game you're talking about.
Yeah.
I had the best thought for Bombard the other day that I sort of want to try out. You replace a champion and all your scouts with like 8 foot soldiers. That's the best wall. or sorry, rather, 8 foot soldiers.
8 foot soldiers, Jesus.
Yeah, you can't trade any of the scouts off really without using.
That would be an interesting one for sure.
Once every 5 turns. Halberds can't kill him without battle cry. If you're playing,
that's really going to fall apart versus Regenerate, actually, though.
Yeah, that's true. Well, one thing about against Regenerate is that if you use Bombard, they have to regenerate. Otherwise, you can Bombard again and then charge battle cry like one of your foot soldiers.
Yeah, that's true, but like, what are the chances? I don't know. Foot soldiers are so slow and immobile that I feel like they could easily get out of that situation.
Well, I don't know how Regenerate would just, melt this set.
Well,
you trade one champ off. That's it.
Well, I mean, but the difficulty is how are you going to trade that one champion off?
Well, you also have 2 champions, so like it's 2v1.
Yeah, but
how are you going to trade off your 2 champions, man? Like,
I'm not going to trade. I'm just going to win those champions.
How? You have foot soldiers. They're gonna die.
I told you I've got my superior bombard tactic. Their scouts
Your
can't.
superior bombard tactic loses to the regenerative prowess.
I mean, what are they gonna do with the champion? They're gonna, come up, take part of the wall, chastise my champion, and then, I just move a foot soldier over and build it back, and then you just chastise back. So
Then
I
they
don't
just
think
end their turn and then walk away like nothing
end their
happened.
turn. Then I'm gonna use battle cry on them.
With what?
But you just
My champion.
with what? You just walled up your champion. You walled up your champion.
Well, I guess it depends what part of the wall they've taken where. Because sometimes you can actually move your champion out and attack them while they can't attack you. So,
Yeah.
like, for example, if my champion's up one space, then it's really exaggerated.
Yeah. But I mean, also that brings into another thing to mind. You're really vulnerable to Chastis in this setup because you only have one champion. Like, particularly vulnerable, in fact, I would say.
Yeah, so if they have if they have anti-rush, let's see, I guess they could walk a champion up. They're gonna take, but I'm gonna use chastise on them, and then after stoic, I just rebuild it with one of the other foot soldiers.
Yeah. But I mean, it also kind of depends at what point in the game this happens, because this could happen like later stage, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would be worried.
Well, the thing is, how are you going to get to a later stage with fewer foot soldiers, right? Because what's going to take one of the foot soldiers is the question.
Well, like, let's say it's a later stage, right, and you only have like 3 or 4 left.
Right, but how are you going to get to that later stage?
By grinding. That's how anti-rush is played. Like,
Just
slowly
keep trading off scouts, like
trade off a scout for what? With battle cry, a foot soldier?
Yeah, just slowly pick away at the foot soldiers, man.
Well, I mean, a battle cry is gonna take you 5 turns each time.
Yeah, it'll whittle away.
Eventually,
so my bombard points, those will also build up.
Those will build up, but the part of the reason why bombard is so deadly, like with the 8 scouts, is because the 8 scouts have such incredible range. Your foot soldiers don't have this incredible range. They're just fucking
sitting ducks, almost.
Yeah, they're like the Opies of Conquest. Like, the Family Guy Opie?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they remind me of, man. They're not gonna. It's like that Family Guy episode.
Thing is, I'm not like gonna advance them forward. I'm just trying to wait back to use like bombard.
Well, it's true, but like,
once you take 3 foot soldiers or 3 to 4 by trading off scouts with battle cry, then I would advance with a Halley, and then eventually you're gonna have to do something.
So 4 scouts with battle cry, I'm gonna have 500 command points at least by that point.
Yeah.
And that's not to mention the scouts that I take. So if I recapture all of those scouts, that's another 100. So I'll be at 600 command points.
Well, I think I would also mention that I don't even have to charge in this variation. Well, obviously, if I want to kill a champ or weaken the champion, yeah. But to kill the foot soldiers, I don't have to charge. I can just walk up because scouts have greater range, and battle cry and kill them. So I'm saving a charge, but also on top of that, I would also use stoic. And even though you could close your wall, I could additionally like.
Well, I'm just gonna use chastise if you use stoic.
Well, okay, so let's say you I battle cry and chastise your champion, right? You chastise me back. I move my scout back after like stoiking. If that makes sense.
Well,
yeah.
Well, the thing is, so let's see. Let's say this is my front line of foot soldiers, and you've got a scout that's battle cried, and you chastise my champion. Well, I'm just gonna move my foot soldier right here to chastise back. So now you can't move away.
Well, then I would just stoic, and if your wall was still closed, I would.
You stoic, and then I close my wall.
Yeah, then I just weaken it to 200 HP, and then
Weaken my foot soldier to 200 HP.
Yeah, and then my halberds become more valuable after that, because even if they can't reach your champion potentially, your foot soldiers are Helen Keller. So,
Well, then my
Helen
charge and battle
Keller.
cry actually becomes something.
well, I mean, if my scout's gonna die anyways, I'm gonna weaken something. You know.
Yeah, I guess since I'm not advancing, there's not much else you could do.
Yeah. I mean, I could develop another piece, but I could do that anyways on my cooldowns. So,
I mean, I could try like some variations on this, like, you know, start adding scouts in exchange for some foot soldiers. You know, I could have like 2 scouts here.
yeah, that might be a little bit more interesting of a try, in my opinion.
But
You know.
but what I was thinking about was just this wall of meat of foot soldiers here.
It'd be interesting to see. Oh, well, I know for a fact Rush would beat it.
Yeah,
Rush would destroy that.
I mean, Rush beats Bombard anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
But
true.
I mean, like, it would be an even bigger wash, in my opinion.
Well, when you're playing Rush versus Bombard, don't you have to push all the scouts up and then trade them, don't you?
Well, yes, but there's also the chance that you could be using Chastis, like the anti-rush trick, you know. And so your opponent's never going to really try and venture their champion out. And so after they battle cry all 6 of their scouts on each one of your foot soldiers and have like all of their champions up and knight up and halberd up, you're probably not going to survive.
Well, I mean, I've got a few Bombards in that case to, you know, take out some of the scouts.
Yeah, well, that's fair, but they only really need, so like, what you have, how many foot soldiers did you have in total? Like,
so in this one I have 7.
oh, the other one you had 8, right?
Yeah.
So they'd only really need to take out probably 4 foot soldiers before they start rushing you, maybe even 3 potentially.
3. Well, if we're gonna go with
yeah, like with that, Rush could probably break through it. Because think of it like this: they sacrifice their knight or their halberd.
Well, you know, I think they could just like sacrifice the champion for the remaining foot soldiers or what have you.
Oh yeah, they could actually. Yeah, that's
you've
very
only got
true.
1 champion.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, I'm gonna try this in a tournament one day. I wonder if I'll actually beat anyone.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. So let's see. Any other weird sets you guys can think of?
How does the Halley span work? Like, what's the objective of that?
Oh, the objective is move forward, take things, do damage.
So, like the 10 halberds setup?
There's four, right? 4 Halleys and a knight, or?
Oh, you mean Dark Ranges set? Where it's like 6 halberds and like a champion?
3 scouts.
Was it that?
Because the halberd spam is just 10 halberds.
Yeah.
Is there one with 4 halberds and a knight?
Yeah, I think that's a variation of Dark Ranges set.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You don't see that too often.
Let's see, you said 4 halberds and there's a knight somewhere.
I thought
probably instead of a champion.
You check the forums.
Speaking of the forums, I guess you've seen that your old anti-rush guide got taken down for like inactivity.
Oh yeah, like yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Requiescat in pace.
Rip. I'm glad you made those videos, although not all of them are entirely that accurate. Okay.
Oh yeah, I want to do like a series with like basically improvements, I guess. I know you said like my foot soldier hunter was just utter crap.
That's some nautical nonsense for sure.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna, I guess, redo that one. But for some of the others, I'd actually like to do a video like one of these hangouts actually, where we get a lot of people discussing the different.
Yeah, hopefully we can get Member on the chat. He's so shy and like doesn't like talking.
Oh, really? Not with his voice?
Yeah, his beautiful voice is well.
That's cute.
Have you heard his voice before, Range?
No, I haven't.
Oh, dude, it's something to behold.
Maybe that's why he went offline right before I tried to invite him to the hangout. He didn't want his beautiful voice to be heard.
It's even
there's actually like a side chat on the hangout over here. I don't know if you saw it.
Ooh.
You like mouse over your screen to the left. There's a chat thing at the very top.
Let me see.
That's hot.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah, but let's see. The only thing I can think of with 4 halberds would be like a 2-night setup.
Yeah, I looked it up. It was the 6. So
yeah, it was the 6. Or 6. Hold on, how do you fit 6 halberds in here? 6 halberds.
Well, that's an interesting one.
Oh, I've got bombard. That's what it is. Jesus. That's why I don't have any resources left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. That would explain a lot.
Yeah, that's the turkey set.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you had a lot of success with vigilance? I like its idea, but I feel like it's just there's so many weaknesses. Like,
oh yeah, so let's talk about my my vigilance set as one of the odd or weird sets. So I've had sort of mixed success with vigilance.
The most notable one against me.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think that's the 3rd video with the games versus you that I put up.
he got a win though.
Yeah, he did get the win.
Yeah. And I've had a lot of other really close games, like with Kiri Beater that you saw. I think I was actually winning that one, but I stepped my halberd a little too close.
Oh.
I had miscounted like way earlier, and so I was thinking, all right, I can just push my halberd 4 spaces from here on. But no, I miscounted there.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I should have been recounting like each step of the way.
Yeah.
But the thing about vigilance that or at least my vigilance set that I like is the 2 foot soldiers, because your other option is the halberd. And I don't like this as much because you don't have as much to tank with.
That's true.
Yeah, so the foot soldiers can do some damage against scouts. They can battle cry 1 out, but you've still got another to keep going after that.
Yeah.
And also what's nice with vigilance is you can use battle cry on a foot soldier to take a halberd, and then after after chastise, you can actually use vigilance to defend them, because either the halberd hits them and they live, you can weaken a champion, or they have to use stoic or some other command on their champion. Usually that's on cooldown, because you might use vigilance once. They can use stoicism to negate that damage, but then you've got vigilance again before they have stoicism. I would honestly just play this like a normal kind of anti-rush game.
Yeah,
I think if you're trying to be too fancy, then vigilance will actually get the better of you with the 2 foot soldiers.
it's very true. Or when you're as high as a kite, but you never know.
Is that? Are you saying that's why I won?
Well, you know, brown cows make chocolate milk, so.
Oh gosh, where's that mute?
Oh my god.
There you go. There we go. You're muted now. Nobody can hear you.
I can hear him just fine.
All right. All right. Volume is back up now. No, but vigilance. I think a lot of people. I think a lot of their calculations are sort of off, or maybe they're a bit scared of vigilance. It's actually just like a weaker form of stoicism when you think about it, really.
Mm-hmm.
Because with vigilance, you're not actually guaranteed to live, especially if they have stoicism. That can just negate all the damage.
So my theory, back to what I was going about before, is intermediate players don't count command points, or like your units, you know, and
or maybe cooldowns.
Yeah, or cooldowns really, but well, they might count cooldowns. I committed.
Well, you said like Iron Fairy didn't count your command points one time. You like and you got to rush her with anti-rush.
Yeah. It was a wild one.
Yeah.
I was actually 25 command points off, and she didn't count my command points, and she like sacked a scout or something, and I just mollywopped her afterwards. Oh wait, no, she actually tried to defend herself when I was 25 command points off. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so Member tried to use this set against me with Shield Wall instead of the Chastise. It was in our second game for the other tournament that we did. And let's see, I think
that just doesn't work.
Well, the thing is I had lost the first time with Vigilance, and he was trying to be I guess he was trying to show off or something. But it, to me, it had looked like he had copied my exact Vigilance setup. But he replaced this with Shield Wall for some trickery. And I don't know, somehow I figured I always knew he could have Shield Wall. I sort of was assuming that he still had Chastise, but at some point I weakened his champion to 100 HP, and he was like, "Oh, how did you know I had Shield Wall?" I was like, "I didn't." It looked like a good move.
That's always funny.
But yeah, he's tried to beat me with this set. That didn't work. He also tried this set with Vigilance and Shield Wall because he thought it was better. But
that's not true at all.
Yeah, my normal Vigilance set actually beat his. He tried this against me 3 different times. None of them worked.
Vigilance is not an aggressive command. It's not like something you can play like hyper aggressively, like Rush would.
You can't push anything forward with Vigilance. That's the thing.
Yeah.
There are very specific situations where you can, like if they don't have any of their commands ready, that's like the only time you could push forward with Vigilance.
Yeah, but that's very, very like seldom. Like you're gonna have to push to find that situation.
Yeah. One thing. Let's see. It's a foot soldier actually. So one thing you said is there's like this tactic with the champion and the knight that you can do with Vigilance.
Yeah.
So you put the champion in range with Vigilance, they charge Battle Cry it, and then you can actually come back with the knight to counterattack them.
Yeah, so if it's 2 champions versus a champion and knight, you could Vigilance. If they charge Battle Cry and kill it, you recapture with the knight and then corner their other champion. It's just an interesting tactic that I just thought of on the top of my head.
Yeah, and that would be like one of the only times where Vigilance might actually become useful. But if they still have halberds, those can hurt.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I like to take the halberds first, actually, especially when I'm playing Vigilance.
Yeah.
Because then they don't even need commands to hurt you.
Yeah.
And halberds using Vigilance are also kind of nice.
So, Rainstra, what level are you in the Conquest levels now?
9.
9.
you're
Oh,
on
wow.
9. I thought I saw you were on level 8 last time I checked.
Yeah,
Maybe remember.
managed to get the win.
Oh, you got to talk
Luckily.
about that. How do you manage it? Like, what do you do?
Honestly, like I had a 200 champ in a Halley versus full champ in a Halley, and he really messed up the end game. I think he just had to sack his Halley, but he just charged with his full champion, and then I just walked up with my champion. I stoicism, and he didn't have charge or battle cry anymore. So, and I still have my chastise.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a dud.
So what are levels 9 and 10 again? I know one of them is like anti-rush and foot spam.
That's level
Then
10.
yeah. Level 10 is footy spam versus anti-rush. Level 9 is anti versus anti.
Oh, okay.
And you're basically versing me, anti versus anti.
Yeah.
So, you might have a little bit of stress in that one, but and then footy spam, I'm playing footy spam, you're playing anti-rush. So I have you're playing at a disadvantage.
Oh,
that's what it was?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Wow. What a cheap move.
Well, if you can beat me at level 10, you've definitely passed, Like, I don't know. So remember how we were coming up with the idea of the gauntlet? Do you want to explain that a little bit, Icy?
The idea of what?
The gauntlet?
Oh, the gauntlet. Yeah, I was thinking it would more or less be like a bunch of these weird sets. And it would be kind of similar to your conquest levels, but your conquest levels towards the end, they get more orthodox, like, anti-rush versus regen. The gauntlet, I was thinking they would all basically be gimmick sets, or for the most part gimmick sets. Maybe you'd throw in a few that are the same. And you'd pick a set. So, like, for example, you might pick this set right here, and you've got to go through each level of the gauntlet with the same set each time that you try it. And you'd have to score like some passing condition, like maybe you have to beat at least half, or maybe 70% is passing. And basically that's how you get your reward.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's an interesting new idea that we were thinking of. Yeah. All credit goes to Icy Clench, of course.
Yeah, every credit.
Every credit, yeah.
Yeah. As to who would be I guess like instructing or playing, for the most part, I would hope it would be whoever like mains their set. Like, I know Iron Fairy does her regen and shield wall set.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally she would be playing with that. Like, I would be using my vigilant set, something like that. But yeah, they're mostly all unorthodox sets. I guess a lot of them wouldn't be very good. So you'd have like the Championeer sets. And I guess it's basically a gauge to see how well, any specific set might do.
Don't forget to mention, so when you're entering the gauntlet, you have to choose one setup and you have to stick with that setup.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was thinking maybe there would be like a harder gauntlet where instead of all the weird sets, they're actually standard sets. So you can see how your set would fare like maybe in an actual tournament.
Yeah.
So you'd face like anti-rush, foot spam, regen, bombard, winds of fate, whatever else people normally play.
Yeah.
But
you could probably have it so like the weird gauntlet, the standard gauntlet, and then you could probably just make an impossible gauntlet where they tell you what set they're gonna be playing as beforehand, and then you just play all these setups that like specifically counter it.
Oh, like they're gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna be rushing. You just play anti-rush all day.
You play anti-rush. You play the halberd anti-rush variation, footy spam. just come up with all these like anti-rush variations and see how well they fare.
Yeah.
Because like with the standard variation, rush would actually probably fare very well. Like if you think about it, like if you're playing regen, rush has an advantage against regen, even though I see clench lost to it. Cough. But it has an advantage against bombard as well. Wins
I
a
was
favor.
one turn off with that.
Yeah.
I won level 6 of regen actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Which one is level 6?
Rush.
That's rush, yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean that you have to be, I guess, pretty precise, don't you?
Yeah, rush requires like precision and aggressiveness. Like I don't think Member really has that. Like he's not that like when you get to the top level of conquest plays, people have their own play styles, in my opinion, and Member's play style doesn't really fit the rush. You know.
Yeah, the thing about rush is that you can mostly just calculate all the opening out in the beginning. So while the other player might not be prepared for it, you know, they have to go and calculate it out. They might calculate something wrong, but if you've calculated everything out beforehand, you're going to have an easier game at the very least.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
There's not many rushers left, are there?
Yeah, no.
I think it's just because everyone plays anti-rush these days.
Yeah. The rushers got scared out basically. We weeded them out.
Yeah, you still see rush in tournaments sometimes, you know, when they're expecting the other player might play something different.
Yeah, like Mato versus Member. Member used rush the first game.
Oh, speaking of which, I don't know if you might consider it a weird set, but certainly not normal is instead of like anti-rush, you replace the chastise with shield wall for fake rush.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, like how do you think this would like compare to normal rush? How would you say?
Gimmick wise, obviously, it'd be much better.
Yeah.
If you were to have 6 scouts, 1 knight, 2 champions, 1 halberd with Chastis instead, I think this setup would probably like comparing the two, like faking out rush with anti-rush compared to I think faking with rush is like would give you better chances of winning and pulling a fast one on your opponent. Like literally in the tournament, what I was just previously mentioning, Member actually beat Mato with this setup. Yeah, it was anti-rush versus this setup, and Member actually won.
Huh.
Yeah. I think it depends on the openings too, though. Like, I don't know. Like some openings are more exposing. Like like maybe that charge variation, like the 4-3 attack, and they go into the charge variation. Yeah. Maybe you get a good rush out of that. Who knows?
Yeah, you certainly can't play any of the openings that require you to use chastise.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't play like against the 5-6-6 as black here.
Yeah.
Because you basically need chastise for that. Although I guess you could play like the 4-4 attack, right? You take one and then take the other with stoicism and then use charge.
Yeah. So Rainstill, are you familiar with these openings? Like maybe
yeah, I've been reading up on them.
Yeah. Do you know the 4-4 stoic charge one? Because that was new. Like me and Icy Clench like literally just came up. Well, not just, but like.
Oh, we discussed it the other day, or we thought about it.
Yeah. So if you just want to show that real quick.
Yeah, I think Iceflux told me about it.
Yeah. So the idea is, as black, you're gonna go ahead and play instead of the 4-3, it's 4-4. And the idea is when they play this scout up 3 here, you're gonna take one. They recapture, and the other one is gonna take with stoicism. So you're at 100, white's at 125 here. So white could go ahead and capture with Battle Cry, but if they try to use Chastise on you, and let's see, what are they going to do? Move their, I guess, Foot Soldier up, something like that.
Yeah.
Then black is actually going to charge one of the scouts and take one of yours.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting tactic, actually.
Yeah, and now black is actually at 75 command points, and they're about to Battle Cry something over here.
Yeah, it's a big attack happening right there.
Mm-hmm.
Though I would like to mention, instead of Foot Soldier of 4, there is actually an interesting try. So as white, so if you go back before Foot Soldier of 4, if you play Champion of 4 here in Chastise.
Champion of 4.
In Chastise.
To get the momentum going after they use charge.
Yeah, after they use charge, you know, it might wind up as a pretty interesting scenario here.
Oops, I don't want to go there. Want to take the one up. I should make an option to disable error messages because sometimes they get annoying.
Yeah. So here you could play a Champion of 2, capture the scout, and then you're already in like.
Let's see. Yeah, you're in charge and Battle Cry range. You're about to get that next turn.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking might be an interesting try with this kind of variation.
I think that might be just the variation to go with, because what's black gonna do here?
Because they're at 75 command points, and you know.
Yeah, but they're also about to try to use Battle Cry on you.
Yeah.
Is the thing. So if you hit the champion with Battle Cry, you won't have enough to use Chastise.
Yeah.
If you just hit the so next turn they're gonna have charge Battle Cry either way. So you're pretty much gonna have to use Chastise, won't you?
Why don't you just hit the champion?
Well, if you just hit the champion, you've got to use Chastise on him. However, now black can just wait here a turn. Or sorry, white could wait here a turn. Or
now he has 175. Okay.
I guess he doesn't have Chastise here. But he can just wait here because you don't have charge to hit him with.
Yeah.
And let's see what are the units.
I would probably move back at that point.
Yeah, you've got to. Well, it's white's turn, so let's see. What is white gonna do? Halberd up or scout up?
I play footy up.
Footy up.
Yeah.
All right. So black's got to go into the corner now.
To mention, like if you went to the other side, like you know how you have the chance to go to the other side of the corner, that might be a mistake because of the charge chast sort of.
Oh yeah, I think I was showing something like this with the Foot Soldier Gambit. So like, yeah, now it's actually, let's see, 1, 2, 3. So actually, I think perhaps more accurate is charge right. No, well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Charge right here and takes. I think is more accurate. Yeah, with Chastise. Because black can't move this champion out to capture you. They don't have charge.
Yeah. So I was thinking that might be a very big crasher move. So you'd have to, like, your opponent would have to intuitively know that that's the wrong move, you know?
Yeah. Well, maybe they'd also see, like, this sort of idea. And I don't know if it's more common to go here instead of the other right here. I don't know if one is more common than the other. I usually play my champion right here.
So do I.
Just because it gives him some extra range.
Yeah.
But I think I see a lot of people do this maybe more often, maybe not more often. But here, I think white can do the same kind of idea with the Foot Soldier Gambit. So
the two openings.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I might take the scout there.
You might take the scout. Oh, because they don't have chastise, do they?
Yeah, they don't have chastise, and you create 2 openings, right?
Yeah. I was mentioning that on the other one, but I like to look at just taking the most material you can first, before I try to look at these fancy things here.
Well, like with this, you're winning a champion, aren't you?
Not quite. Oh, well, yeah, I guess you are, because they don't have stoicism either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Oh, so like the best they could try is halberd up, but you get this champion.
And
If
you
they
have
defend, if they defend it with battle cry, then you know they're screwed, right? Actually, maybe they're not too screwed because your champion.
It's 400 HP.
Yeah.
So in that position, well, then they have 0
maybe,
command points, so you're gonna win a bunch of
maybe
material.
I'm gonna say halberd back there. Well, I guess now you can defend with battle cry.
Well, you're also winning the champion. Oh wait, never mind. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, then
Yeah,
you defend with battle cry, you win material, and
yeah, but yeah, and then if we look at where instead you take the halberd instead of the scout, maybe you consider it equal material, maybe it's not equal, but you take there and you have to use stoicism, and black's just going to close their wall. But you take the other halberd, and now you can use chastise. Yeah, so now we actually have some tactics where that halberd position maybe makes a little bit of difference, maybe not.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, I don't think it does, because if your champion's over here, it's the same deal, right? Because you can't just open up another spot with your scout.
Yeah.
But now you can actually chastise and turn in black here. Black's got chastise. Yeah, okay, maybe taking with the maybe taking the halberd doesn't work because they have battle cry next turn.
Yeah. Well, actually,
well, maybe if we switch battle cry and stoicism.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
All right, so let's just pretend that's stoicism.
Yeah,
then they defend with stoicism.
You win 1 more piece.
Oh, actually, here you could walk away if they didn't.
Don't they have charge though?
They don't have command points.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah, so there, in that situation, they'd actually have to move their champion next to yours,
and then stoic,
and use stoic. Yeah, here. Yeah, I don't know if I like this so much.
You're potentially winning the foot soldier or another scout.
Yeah, it's foot soldier or scout, but it's 2 full HP champions, and we'll say 2 scouts versus this. Maybe that's still winning.
It might be still winning, but I think it's less straightforward than the variation that I mentioned. But
less straightforward. I think it's more straightforward, but
I
don't think taking the scout over a halberd is very straightforward.
Oh, well, I mean, I get a weakened champion to 100 HP, though. Whereas you're just winning 2 halberds and a foot soldier.
Well, the weakened champion to 400 HP and you get a halberd.
Yeah.
Or to 100 HP, rather.
Yeah. So your variation, you get 2 halberds, a foot soldier. My variation, you get a scout, a halberd, and 100 HP champ.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of if you get a charged and use charge battle cry a scout, kill a halberd, use stoic to defend him. You can actually take the 100 HP champion like next turn. You know, if they chastise you, move another scout up. That's what I'm thinking with the 400 HP champion.
Yeah, that might be interesting. Yeah.
Could you show that?
Right.
Can't select your opponent's unit, Icy Clench.
Yeah, I also can't select a blank square. I didn't have that as an error message. So it was
What
here.
would we do without that error?
And stoic, and then black. What was the right move here? It was like halberd here, and defends with battle cry. Actually, I'm gonna go. Well, maybe you wouldn't want to walk away in this situation.
Just walk away.
But
maybe.
Oh, you know what? Actually, it shouldn't be this halberd that moves over. It should be either this halberd or the foot soldier that blocks there with battle cry. At least I think so. Because you take and chastise, and what is this?
25
what
seconds.
happened?
I see Clutch is getting confused.
Yeah.
You're confusing yourself, mate.
Oh, that's why it couldn't. That's why it couldn't be that halberd. I remember. It's got to be this halberd. All right, so it's got to be that halberd, because otherwise you just block the other one in. And now, after white takes and battle cry, and I guess you'd switch around battle cry and stoicism. Well, maybe not, because it forced them to use stoicism, right? Now, I don't know. Now they're just gonna make a move. I don't know. Scout up, foot soldier up.
One of those two.
But then they're gonna weaken your champion. So
it's not bad.
Yeah.
Can it select your opponent's unit, Icy? Stop.
Well, I keep forgetting which side is black and which side is white. That's the thing. I'm used to playing with the camera upside down, and everything I just try to think is backwards.
You're like a fish out of water.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure what black would do here.
I'm not entirely sure what he can do, you know.
Yeah. Like scout up 2 spaces maybe. White's got to wait for that.
So maybe that opening isn't quite so good as I thought it would be, you know, after that champion of 4.
Yeah, after champion up 4, I think black is crushed there.
Well, so like go there, right? I played champion of 4 here, right? They don't have to charge. They could play a scout up 6 here.
So scout up 6.
So now they don't waste their charge.
Let's see. What about champion up 4 more? Or maybe 2 is also adequate, because 2 is probably better, because you're still in range of the front row here, in charge range.
Yeah.
So takes there. You're about to be 150. Now what does black do?
Oh, let's say you weaken in Justice.
Well, now you've got the same thing. Well, no, it's not the same thing because you didn't charge. All right. So chastise at 75. Oh, now white's. Oh crap! White doesn't have chastise.
Yeah,
ready.
white doesn't have Justice.
I was gonna say chastise, and then you can get. Yeah. So now
so
white
you're
would
forced.
have to, right?
Now you're forced to stoic. Yeah. And then they can just put their. Well, they don't even have to put their piece in the wall either. because you're at 100 CP.
Yeah.
So they could just wait it out, develop another piece or something, get a tempo.
I'm thinking if you play Halberd up 3.
Well, that's an interesting one for like a double tempo.
Yeah, they got to move their champion back, and then they have to move it back again.
Yeah.
So, champion forced to move back. Now, what do you do with your tempo? Let's see. I sort of like this. You got a free weaken, right? You're forcing them to move back again, so they can't do much to you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that means you can actually play a scout up now.
Scout up 6 potentially.
Yeah, scout up 6. If they want to take it, they lose their champion.
Yeah,
so they have to play their champion back some more. At least one space, maybe only one space. Yeah, one space.
And then load and behold, you can do capture and stoic again.
Yeah, but we've only got one scout left.
True. You could charge in battle cry too if you wanted to, really.
Capture and stoic. I wonder if you could do the charge. Well, oh my god, it's the same thing now. So
that's what I'm saying.
Except now they can't move their champion up because of the halberd.
Exactly. Like that's even stronger.
Let's see, they're gonna get.
Well, what they could do is they could do a target removal. So they could play their scout back 3 spaces.
Back 3 spaces?
Yeah, so when they charge, they're not going to be killing your scout.
All right, well, now you're going to get another weaken, aren't you? After charge battle. Well, oh, you don't have charge battle cry this turn.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets interesting, man. This is what I like about anti-rush. There's so many, like...
Yeah, we should do a different hangout to fully analyze this opening, I think.
Yeah. There's so many variables you can create with anti-rush. It's very unique.
Yeah, I was wondering about like an opening with vigilance somehow.
Yeah.
Like normally when you take with stoicism, they have to chastise. But if you take with vigilance, you can sort of force their halberd up. And I was wondering, if you could devise something that once they move their halberd up to capture, you actually capture with battle cry. Something like that.
Yeah, that might be interesting.
It would have to be like a scout up 5 opening, I think. But I don't know. I think that about does it for this hangout. We discussed at least most of the weird sets, right?
Yeah. We also discussed how brown cows make chocolate milk.
Oh my gosh. All right, so I guess I'm gonna stop the broadcast here.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for coming on,
guys. Thanks for the info. Real helpful.
Yeah.
Now you can beat me.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah. Hopefully, if anyone else is watching, can message me and join in next time. But thanks for watching.